Hey, welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to be making two types of chili. One's going to be a beef chili and the other a turkey chili. And I'm using the Mrs. Wages chili base mix because of the large amount that I'm making. It's just easier to use this and the flavors are really great. I use Mrs. Wages when I can chili base to have shelf stable on my shelves. For each batch of chili, I'm going to be using a number 10 can of diced tomatoes and then half of a can of tomato puree. And I'm doing it in two batches because I'm making two different types of meats. I just have to say, I love my industrial can opener that I use to open my number 10 cans. I will leave the information below if anyone's interested. It is so easy to use and it makes my job a lot easier. Because tomatoes are so acidic, sauce bases can turn out to be a little bitter. So you want to cut that with a little sugar. On the back of the packet, it tells you how much to use. And I'm just using about 1/4 of a cup to start with. And we'll see how that goes. And if I need to add more, I'll add more. But because of the large amount I'm making, you just kind of have to go by taste. I highly recommend using El Pato sauce. This is a large can from my restaurant supply store. So I'm going to only use about a half can to this amount of chili per batch. And it's hot, so you have to be careful. But the taste is so good. I highly recommend you giving it a try. The way that I cut costs and trying to stick with my budget is preparing my own pinto beans. You have to be careful because there are a lot of rocks, pebbles, dirt inside of these bags. So you have to go through and use your eye, rinse the beans, and give them a soak. I'm gonna let them soak overnight and then we'll come back and put them in the pressure cooker. I have two sizes of Instapots. Actually, one's a Cuisinart. The Instapot that I have is an 8-quart. The Cuisinart is a 6-quart. So I am gonna do the smaller batch with the turkey and the larger batch with the ground beef. When you put the beans in your Instapot, just fill it up with water till it's about 2 inches above the bean line. And for both Instapots, both amounts of beans, it's just 35 minutes. So set your Instapot for 35 minutes and they will turn out perfect. In the Instapot, I'm gonna do 8 cups of dried beans, and in the Cuisinart, I'm gonna do 6 cups of the dried beans. And it turns out to be the perfect amount. Here I have 10 pounds of ground beef, and I am gonna cook this down, and you can see it releases a lot of fat. We're gonna drain the fat off before we add the spices. With the turkey, it was 6 pounds of turkey, and it did release off a good amount of liquid, so I drained both of them before I add the spices. It just works better so you don't throw spice down the drain. Here I'm lining a colander with a plastic bag and foil. And I do this because you need a way to get rid of the fat without clogging your drains. So this is just a method I've come up with that helps to get rid of this fat in a safe manner. Once I've drained all the fat off the meat, I go ahead and add my spices. I'm gonna add a tablespoon of garlic powder, a 1/4 cup of chopped onion, and we'll mix that up really well. I'm also gonna add some salt and pepper. It's about 2 teaspoons of black pepper, and I think I did 3 teaspoons of salt. You'll just have to taste it to see if that is the level of salt that you want. You have to remember too, we also have the spices in the sauce mix, so you don't want to get it too salty. It is time to reveal how the beans turned out. They honestly turn out so tender and good. We'll just taste one to make sure. It is perfect. Okay, so once we've got the beans ready, we're gonna go ahead and combine one of my roaster ovens with the beans, the meat, and the sauce. I use up what I have, and I had half of a box of a Krusteaz cornbread mix, and then I had all these little boxes of Jiffy cornbread, and I'm just gonna follow the directions on the packages and make sheets of cornbread, and nothing special, nothing added to it, just straightforward, and they turned out really good. Once I get to the building, I get ready to combine everything and set the table. I've got to put together the turkey chili at the building. I've already combined the beef chili, so we're gonna go ahead and get that ready. There's the beef chili and the turkey chilies on the other side. These turned out so good, and the kids couldn't even tell the difference between the beef and the turkey. I serve it with grated cheese, cilantro, onion that they can put on top, sour cream. The cornbread, I just had butter and honey out, and the kids really enjoyed this meal. There was not a drop left.